welcome back to Forza Horizon 5 with another Baja build. As promised, the new-ish Mercury Cyclone Spoiler. It's very rare. It was a homologation special, I believe, for NASCAR, but it was designed to help the aerodynamics, keep it, planted on the racetrack at high speeds. Because, spoiler alert, American cars were not very good aerodynamically. So, they made this. It's really cool. I've only seen one. This is actually the paint job that I've seen it in. Mint green, because why not? And to be honest, I think this car is going to be very good. Historically, American muscle cars, classic American muscle cars, I should say, have always been exceptional in build series because those tires. That is why. 305s on the front, off-road racing tires, 325s on the rear. It gives a colossal amount of grip. I mean, it's comical, actually. We'll come back to that later. You want best suspension. We desperately need all of this stuff. Desperately. Because it's 4,200 pounds. And we can only get it down as heavy, 3,500 pounds. And we're going to make it heavier, like that. And yes, you do have to ruin the styling, I'm sorry, but we need the Forza Aero. We also need an off-road diff. And then we need horsepower. A lot of horsepower. We should get a decent amount. Hopefully we won't have to swap the engine out. I don't know what engines this has. It looks like we're gonna have to, because we're running out, and we're not even halfway through A-Class. Turbochargers, yeah, it's not gonna do it. Okay. So, 6.7-liter diesel, that could be fun, but I'm not gonna do it. 5.2 V8, 7 point, that's the TVR engine. The Shelby 427, Viper V10, or a monster truck engine. I can't put that in because it's way too high. Or I could do that. Ooh. This is I'm gonna use that. Because that still cuts the weight down. That's the lightest engine that still gives me room for upgrades. That's what we're gonna go with. It's the lightest engine, but it has room for upgrades. We're gonna be pretty damn powerful. Okay, we're gonna be pretty damn powerful. Bore it out to 5.7 liters. There we go, perfect. Then we go with that. Can we sneak anything else on? No. Yes, there we go. What about a flywheel? No. Okay. 616 horsepower, 500 foot-pounds of torque. It is pretty heavy, but it should have plenty of grip. Okay, our target time is a 2:31.1, set by the Toyota Celica ST205. That was a pretty good car, because it had a good balance of grip, a good balance of handling, and it had a decent amount of horsepower. This has a lot of horsepower, and it should hopefully have a lot of grip, but it also has a lot of weight. So we'll see how the handling is, because grip and handling are different things. Grip is an element of handling. And well, the other part of it is how good is it through the corners. Grip is a, assistant to that, if you will. Ooh, I'm a little bit off this way from the bumps, but that can give us a good line. Not in this case. I'm a little bit off exploring. That's fine. I got a little bit upset by the bumps. Yeah, this definitely has a lot of grip. I will not deny that. It has a ridiculous amount of grip. Whether or not that's intrusive in a vehicle this heavy, you can see even with having a whole lot of horsepower, it's really not hitting that craziest speeds. Because you see, there is a caveat to the muscle cars always win avenue. All of my build series up to this point have been S1 class, top of S1 class at that. And that means you get a stupid amount of horsepower. So you can just power your way out of every single corner. That's why the Buick was so good in Horizon 4. This doesn't have that because it's, 100 PI points down. So I think it'll still be good, but I'm not sure it might, we'll have to see, have the same domination we've seen in the past from American muscle cars. Yep. I thought I didn't hit that, and, Can we get it? Nope. Okay, we're just gonna let it play out. This run, it's just a test, That was just not our setup. I'm gonna blame the bumps. Partially my own incompetence behind the wheel you saw there. I'm getting caught out, I think, by the grip. I'm not used to a vehicle having so much traction. That's how it's tried at best. It does not want to slide. And, well, as we've seen on this series, sliding to a small extent is a very good thing. It helps get that front end turned in on the tighter corners where you might not necessarily be able to get that turn in. So it is a very beneficial thing, but on the vehicle this grippy, it almost might actually be a hindrance. We can carry mega speed through there. That was a ridiculous amount of speed. The question is, will that much grip, which helps carry that much speed, will it be a hindrance everywhere else and cost us time overall? That's going to be the big question for this thing. Of course, it's not like the bumps. That was not a great run. Yeah. That was not the best run I have ever attempted. But it leaves lots of room for improvement. So look at it like that. It leaves lots of room for improvement. I know that you can't slide around quite as much, or not as easily, I would think would be the correct wording there. And it's not as fast accelerating as I was expecting for a lot of horsepower. There we go. But you know what? That's what we have 3 rounds for. So let's see how this fares. Okay. Yeah, that's understeer. That's understeer. That's all-wheel drive understeer on the tarmac with the off-road racing tires, and just the sheer weight. This is a very heavy car. This is, God, probably almost half a ton heavier than the Celica that's at the top, and half a ton is a lot. And this has a lot more horsepower. It probably has close to 500 more horsepower, but not 500 more, 100 more, that's what I was looking for. That's 560 something horsepower. I think the Celica had just over 450, and it's going about the same speed, only it misses stuff. I'm not sure I like this car, to be honest. Make the checkpoint, you evil sod. This is why Mercury went bankrupt, okay? This is why. It's not because they're just a weaker Lincoln. It's because they suck. Definitely not me. Well, so we'll be honest. Well, definitely elements of this have been me. Also, a few have been the car. I'm not happy with how this thing handles. There's nothing wrong with it inherently. But it almost has too much grip for what we're asking it to, which is a weird complaint. But you can see, it really doesn't want to get turned on these tight twisties, and I think that's because it has so much grip. And nope. And then it also slides around like an idiot. I don't understand. It slides around on landings, which I get caught out by, and at the same time it gets understeer around the corners. I think it has to do with the weight. I think that's its biggest issue. Even with the light Viper engine, they can, 640 horsepower, 600 torque. It's still 3,200 pounds, which is substantially heavier than everything else by a long shot short of the Bronco. But the Bronco also is, a proper racing vehicle with the suspension design and the chassis tuning from Forza Racing Team. This is a race car for the road. It's just from 1970, okay? different era. Much different era. Can we at least take this jump smoother? Nope, that's a wheelie. It was smoother, I will give it credit where it's due, it was smoother. But, alright, it's all gonna come down to this final run, because, yeah, we're in last. No pressure. Okay, full disclosure, my audio sort of died as I was recording the final run. Oopsie. I must have hit the power button or something, maybe it ran out of battery. I'm using the backup recorder right now. I haven't checked the other one yet. Yeah. So this is an audio recording, re-recording basically, of a run that's already been complete. You can see I was a little bit unhappy with myself over that jump. I was a little slow, but I kept it from running wide. I kept some good speed through here. And then that was probably the best part of this opening run. It was a very clean run, I will say that much about this final attempt, but you can see I couldn't quite carry the speed through there as much as I wanted to, so I only hit 106, and I overcorrected a little bit heading on the jump to not have to run wide, and in my efforts to not run wide, I almost ran shallow, so I had to handbrake, so it's not the smoothest, not the fastest run through there, but it did work. And it was, carrying some speed. It was better than missing the checkpoint and running wide or anything like that. It was the fastest car ever down the straightaway, hitting 121 miles an hour, which is very impressive for this stage. It is not a fast stage. I ran a little bit wide, but that gave me a late apex, and I could use all of that power. I carried very good speed up the hill here. Got a decent enough lane. The car decided to spire to the right, had a mind of its own. So again, not smooth, but it was smoother than the last run. That was the important part. I was just trying to get clean run in this example. So, not stellar. Certainly, if I had an 8.5 out of 10, I would rate that opening section. But through here, this is the one part where you can truly see the corner speed of this machine. That's 16.1 through there. Very impressive. No sideways shenanigans at all. Then we go through this section. This section is even better because it's high speed. It's semi-compacted dirt, so you're not understeering, you're not sliding, you just have grip, so you carry stupendous speed with this vehicle. I mean, look, that's 92 miles an hour through that corner. It may be a mediocre car in terms of, driving feel, but in terms of corner speed and the high speeds, there is nothing like it that I've driven so far. The only comparable vehicle is the Bronco R, and that is a full-on racing vehicle, so well done there. And I crossed the line. As you can see, it was a very impressive time. It did a 2:30 dead. Yeah. 2:30.429. It went to the top. I didn't think it would. It beat the Celica by 0.7 of a second. Almost exactly. I was not expecting that. To be honest, it did not feel like that run was beating the Celica by 0.7 of a second. But it did. I guess that's the old adage, if you feel like you're going fast, you're actually going slow. If you feel like you're going slow, you're actually going fast, because that was a very fast run, even though it did not feel fast at all. So yeah, the Mercury Cyclone Spoiler is at the top of our table. The Celica's reign was, very short. I said I thought the muscle car would be quite good, and it was very good. Very good indeed. It had so much grip that even with a pretty mediocre run like that, where it could get bounced around by the bumps, and it was very heavy, and it was understeery, it was incredibly fast if you were just smooth and you took your time. So yeah, I like this car a lot. I'm very glad it's in Forza. It's a different type of vehicle in Forza. We don't really have very many NASCAR homologation specials. We have the Daytona, and that's it. So, I love the little minty thing. It's proper good fun. And in the meantime, that will be it for this episode of Forza Horizon 5, and I'll be back with more.